My name is Eli.
My name is Jaden.
I'm Jason.
I'm Caden.
And we are the Yahoo and the Torah YouTube channel.
And we are glad you could join us tonight.
Thank you very much. We know your time is precious, and we have a laws, statutes, and commands that our Creator has given us that we are going through. And again, these are lists that is not our list, but we're going through the list, we're cleaning the list up, and we will produce the list when we're done. And we don't think this is the exact list, and there are a tremendous amount of duplicates, but for the most part, we are going to go through them. And 191 is where we are at, and if you guys have not seen the other episodes that we had on this, check them out. They're every other day backwards all the way to where you get to number 1 of this list. And again, this is like a unofficial Judaism kind of a list or something. For some reason, the Judaism guys have this list, and they say these are the 613 laws of our Creator. So we're just going through them and seeing what they are. And 191 is not to eat the blood, for the life is in the blood. Deuteronomy 12:23. Who has it?
I do. Only be firm not to eat the blood, for the blood is in the life, and do not eat the life with the meat.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty simple, right? Okay, let's get some, when would people be eating the blood?
Never.
Steaks.
Ritual sacrifices.
Yeah, ritual sacrifices. Evil people. Very bad evil people would be doing evil things of that nature, and there are a tremendous amount of it, and they do drink the blood. Thanks, guys, for getting us right into this one. So, steaks, medium rare steaks, is that eating the blood?
I'd say, yeah, if there's blood in the steak, probably need to cook it out. If there is blood in the food, you should cook it more.
Okay, and you guys have actually been a part of killing the cow, ripping them open, a couple of them, and basically cutting them up. And so we know everything from the insides of the cows to the outside of the cows, and it is, when you get a chunk of meat, explain how this meat is.
It's bloody.
Yeah, it's all everything.
It's extremely bloody.
Yeah, everything is in their blood. Even when you cut the steaks, there's always blood everywhere when you deal with this. And so the command is not to eat the blood. And so it is again a very important one. And our Mashiach's blood is what saves us, is the atonement for our sins. And so 191 goes to 192, and 192 is not to eat blood again. So a reiteration of this, or Leviticus 1 was first. And also 193 is the exact same thing, not to eat the fat. And it says of some cling animals. That, I can tell you right now, of some is not correct.
Of all.
Of any animals. So you're not to eat the fat. Okay, let's go through this. Leviticus 3:17, who has it?
I do. An everlasting law throughout your generations and all your dwellings. You do not eat any blood or any fat.
Okay, yeah, so that's just bar none. And I don't know if my mom was strange, but I will tell you that her favorite part of eating every steak is the fat. And she would cut off the fat and eat it like candy. And I've explained this to her, and I've told her about unclean foods and this nature, and she tells me, you know what, Jesus has been, he got put on the cross so that she could eat what she wants to eat. And it is crazy how some people will never, ever have their eyes open. And it's, they don't understand that if you love him, keep his commandments. Okay, so let's hit the next one, which is 194. Not to eat the thigh muscle. Genesis 32:33.
Okay, so I'm looking here. Genesis 32:33.
It's 32.
Yeah, it ends at 32. There's no 33.
Oh, okay, so which one? What is it?
It's 32:32. Okay, so this is a big chapter where he's talking about Jacob wrestling with somebody during the night.
You know what? This is a Jewish thing.
It's not exactly a command.
It says not a command.
This is why
at
the children
all.
of Israel to this day do not eat the sinew of the hip.
Oh.
It says, okay.
Yeah, but that is not a command. Okay, so read that exactly. Okay, go ahead. Tell us the story of it.
So it's pretty much a whole chapter, but it starts over here in verse 25. It says, and when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip.
Who's he?
It was an angel, or it could have been Yahuwah.
Right, no, yeah, either or. But I mean, who is it? So it is Yaakov. And he is wrestling with an entity, an extracurricular entity that is not of this realm. And so they wrestle a lot up until what happens?
It says, and when he saw that he did not overcome him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Yaakov's hip was dislocated as he wrestled him. And then he goes through a whole bunch of things, fighting him, he blesses him. And then verse 32 says, this is why the children of Israel to this day do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of the thigh of Yaakov in the sinew of the hip.
Right. And so Genesis 32 talks about all that. But that actually is not a command. I don't know if eating the sinew of that is bad or not. This is what they did after that, is they do not eat the thigh muscle. So I don't think 194 is actually a commandment. Probably not something to do. I'm sure the rabbis or whatever in the Jewish sect have like all sorts of stuff about it, but that's not exactly what it says, and so we will clean that up and edit that. It says, I guess the command is not even a command, but it should say something to the sort of that the people of Yisrael that were immediately following didn't eat the thigh muscle or something because of Yaakov's hip.
It wasn't a thigh, it was a hip. So
Right.
it's not only is there anything unclean with a thigh muscle. In general, I don't think there's anything unclean. I mean, mussels aren't like great to eat, right? I don't think anybody eats mussels, right?
Yeah, I don't know. 195. Let's move on. Not to cook a kid in its mother's milk. Exodus 23:19.
It says, "Bring the first of the first fruits of your land into the house of Yahuwah, your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk."
Okay, anyone want to take a stab at that? What does that mean?
You shouldn't cook an animal in its mother's milk. You say you slaughtered it, you shouldn't sit there and boil it in the milk, which came from the mother, which of the kid you killed.
Why would this matter? Does anyone have any ideas?
I don't exactly know why it matters.
I think this one matters to Yah for some reason, that if you're going to go kill a kid, don't put it in its mother's milk. I don't have an answer for why this is a commandment. So
It's just something he doesn't want us to do.
yeah, don't do it. So 196, not to cook milk and meat together. So is that so that's Exodus 34:26, and not to cook milk and meat together. 34:26.
Yep. Bring the first of the first fruits of your land into the house of Yahuwah, your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. So I don't know why those two were together. The first, it says, bring the first of the first fruits in. And then, so I think you can cook milk and meat together, just not its mother's milk.
Yeah, so
there's nothing against that.
This is incorrect. 196 is incorrect. What does it say again? 26.
It says, bring the first of the first fruits of your land to the house of Yahuwah, your Elohim. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk.
Yeah, so that is not. These guys have this. This guy got a grade for this, so 196 is wrong. Eli, he needs to fix that. He will fix this on the final copy, and so again, that is not. There's no commandment about not cooking milk and meat together, and so that would. There's a lot of recipes for that. 187, not to eat bread from the new grain harvest, Leviticus 23:14, and it is also the next one, which is roasted grains must be offered before they are eaten, and also the next one, not to eat ripe grains from the new grain harvest before they are made as an offering. Okay, let's go through that.
And you do not eat bread or roasted grain and fresh grain until the same day that you have brought an offering to your Elohim, Allah forever, throughout your generations and all your dwellings.
Okay, so it's basically, it's talking about an offering.
I believe, let's see, this is a certain feast here. Alright, so I think this is close about first fruits.
And so, not to eat bread from the new grain harvest, roasted grains must be offered before they are eaten, not to eat ripe grains from the new grain harvest before they are made as an offering.
Okay, so it's actually Passover.
This is Passover?
This is Passover.
Okay, so 23 is regarding Passover. I don't remember this as far as Passover.
It's Passover, then the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Oh, okay, Feast of Unleavened Bread. Okay, and so this is, anyone want to take a stab at this? Roasted grains must be offered before they are eaten. So basically serve Yahuwah first.
Yeah, I think because, give it as probably like a peace offering or a wave offering back in the day, and you put it on the altar and burn it to him.
Take care of your sins before you take care of yourself, I suppose. 200. Not to eat the fruit of a tree for the first 3 years. Leviticus 19:23.
And when you have come into the land and have planted all kinds of trees for food, then you shall reckon their fruit as uncircumcised. For 3 years it is as uncircumcised to you. It is not eaten.
Okay, more commands. We have absolutely no idea why they are what they are, but they are what they are.
Maybe they ate them with worms inside or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't ready to be eaten. They weren't ripe. They didn't grow.
If any of you that are out there actually know any of the answers to some of these, feel free to put them in the comments. We are happy when you guys comment in on this. 201. Do not plant diverse seeds planted in a vineyard. Deuteronomy 22:9.
All right. Do not sow your vineyard with the different kinds of seeds, lest the yield of the seed which you have sown and the fruit of your vineyard be defiled.
Anyone want to take a stab at that and how that went down?
I guess you shouldn't be mixing stuff that grow. I guess you don't want it to grow together.
So I don't know if this is right or wrong, but this is how I believe that over in Japan, how they actually do a lot of fields is they will tend the field, get it all so the field is ready to do, and then they put in a just like all these seeds together, like a giant thing, and then they just throw it out, and it all throws out, and it goes into the ground, and it brings up all sorts of different kinds of fruit. Now, I do not know, and I do think about this often because we have diverse seeds planted in our fields, but they are not together. So we keep our watermelons separate, our cantaloupes separate, and we try to keep everything separated. And I think we are in covenant by doing this. I don't have answers for this. And again, if you guys do, but that is the command. And, you're not supposed to, if anything, I think it's that you do not toss like just a pile of seeds out and when it's talking diverse seeds. Okay, and so 202, and they shall not profane the holy things of the children of Yisrael. Leviticus 22:15.
And do not profane the Kodesh offerings of the children of Israel, which they are to lift up to Yahuwah.
Okay, any ideas, folks? What's this?
I guess don't profane.
Don't make it
them,
with
yeah.
like the mixed offerings they did, where they added stuff to it and they brought like strange fire before Yahuwah.
Yeah, strange fire is when the sons of Aaron did what, boys?
They went and like burned some incense or something, and they shouldn't have been doing it. They did something. They burned something they shouldn't have on the altar, and the fire consumed them, and they were dead.
It smote it. And what was the command to Aaron?
Levites can no longer drink. The next thing was
do not cry.
Do not
Yeah, you're
cry.
allowed to cry.
Do not weep for your children.
And then the next thing said the Levites are no longer allowed to drink
Why wouldn't y'all want him to weep for his children?
because they defiled the altar.
Yeah, and I guess
That's what upset y'all so badly.
it should have been Aaron's job to figure this out and get the kids, make sure they weren't doing things of that nature. So yeah, don't drink and try to get something good performed. 204, to ritually slaughter an animal before eating it. Deuteronomy 12:21. And Jade has that.
Yep. When the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses you put his name is too far from you, then you shall slaughter from your herd and from your flock which Yahuwah has given you, as I have commanded you, and you shall eat within your gates as much as your being desires.
All right, so guys, is this for us today? I mean, are we to be doing this?
I would say you would. I think they're traveling or something because this would be like during a feast or something.
Us. I'm talking about us. Us as a people. Should we go out and grab a cow and kill it over an altar? So what did they say right here? Too?
I don't think we're like
Levites.
qualified Levites. We don't have the same thing they did, but I mean Abraham still made sacrifices to Yahuwah, so yeah, but we wouldn't know how to make sacrifice without doing it wrong. We'd probably do something wrong. Get blood somewhere we shouldn't.
Blood. Yeah, and there's a lot.
I don't think we should be sacrificing.
Probably not. I would say no.
I would say we're not. No one's qualified to do that.
Yeah, you would have to have a little bit more leadership into this, and I don't know so much. That's us. Okay, to ritually not to slaughter an animal and his offspring on the same day. Leviticus 22:28. This is another one of these odd ones. Why would it matter? But I mean, this is our Creator who's created all of these entities, and He knows every hair on your head, so He knows when one of His entities are gone, and that's taken a life. So I'm sure that means something to our Creator. Go ahead.
But do not slaughter a cow or a sheep and its young on the same day.
There you go. So if you guys were sacrificing it, that's what you wouldn't do. 206, the blood of a slaughtered wild animal must be covered with dirt. Leviticus 17:13. And this goes back to the blood. Life is in the blood.
And any man from the children of Israel, or from the strangers, who sojourn among you, who hunts and catches any beast or bird which is eaten, shall pour out its blood and cover it with dust.
Yeah, do not leave blood. So anyone would take a stab at this one?
Blood would be like blood spill would be kind of unclean. You wouldn't want it on your land.
What would happen? I guess you guys tell me what happens when you have a pile of blood.
Vultures. Vultures, flies, bugs.
Flies.
Really
flies. If this thing draws flies, it draws death. It draws.
It's gross.
Everything likes blood for some reason, and So you got to cover it, and we would do that today. Still, if there's an animal, we cover up the blood when we're done, and keep that commandment. 207, not to take a nesting bird with her eggs and young. Deuteronomy 22:6. More of these commands of don't destroy all of y'all's stuff in the same day. Hit it.
All right. When you come upon a bird's nest along the way, in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, with the mother sitting on the young or the eggs, do not take the mother with the young.
Okay.
And then the next verse says, let the mother go without fail, and take the young for yourself, so that it might be well with you, and that you have prolonged days.
Right, and that's 208, and that goes down there to release the mother bird if you did not take her. And so that's it. This is preserving Yah's creatures, and for the mother bird, that's gonna be super sad.
Yeah.
But you're not, I guess, taking her life, and I guess animals do seem to get over the loss of their young. Somehow, yeah. 208 to release. Okay, we already got that one. 209, not to swear falsely in God's name. Leviticus 19:12.
It says, "And do not swear falsely by my name, and so profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahuwah."
I mean, it seems pretty much.
Don't start swearing his name.
Yeah, you're in the middle of lying to somebody, and you're like, I swear in the name of God, or I swear in God's name, or something. And that's just. People do that all the time. So, yeah, don't bring up our Elohim to naught, his name to naught. 210, not to take God's name in vain. So, Exodus 27.
You shall not take the name of Yahuwah Eloheka in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain.
You guys want to explain this one? What does it mean, taking his name in vain?
I would say, a lot of people say it's like swearing, like, oh my, that. But I think it was more like cursing Yahuwah, or bringing his name to, like, using his name as, like, something else.
Yeah, so the Jews use this, and because of this, they won't even say the name of our Creator. They say, like, what is it?
It's like a sound. It's not even
right, and they won't say it because they say it brings it to naught. And I don't believe that. And I believe the King James has deceptively changed the name of our Creator hundreds of times, maybe thousands. The same for our Messiah's name, is from it went from something like Yahushua, Yeshua, to Jesus or Isis. And that's prior to the 1611 was that. Do we have another 10, guys, or is it?
We have one more 10. Okay. We have another 10.
Okay, so 211, to not lie or deal falsely or deny that something of value was left in your possession. Leviticus 19:11, and then also goes to 212, which is to not swear falsely. Go ahead.
Okay. Do not steal. Do not lie. Do not deceive one another. That's it.
That's it.
And then it goes, and do not swear falsely by my name, and so profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahuwah. Yeah. So I don't know about the value of what's left in your possession. Don't lie if something has value.
Yeah, that wasn't actually in there. I'm sure it's somewhere in here.
That's later.
But I mean, some of these things, these are the laws, statutes, and commands that the Christians have put on the cross.
I think it's a good thing to have.
Right. Well, I mean, to not lie or steal or deal falsely. If it's on the cross, that means I can do this. But the Christians will go, oh, there's some things that aren't. And one thing that is pork. One thing for sure they say is on the cross, and it's obviously not. Okay, to not swear falsely, obviously that's 1911. To swear in God's name only to confirm the truth when deemed necessary by the courts. Deuteronomy 10:20.
It says, revere Yahuwah Elohim, serve him, and cling to him, and swear by his name.
It doesn't say anything like to keep your promises or vows to God. Yeah, that's definitely wrong. So what is it? What was the command?
That was 10:20.
Sorry. To swear in God's name. So what is 10:20 then?
Revere Yahuwah Elohim, serve him, and cling to him, and swear by his name.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with court. So Eli, you need to get that fixed on 213. Has nothing to do with this. Okay, so 214 is Deuteronomy 23:23.
All right. To which has gone from your lips you shall guard and do, for you voluntarily vowed to Yahuwah your Elohim what you have promised with your mouth.
Yeah, and I guess breaking a vow to you, Elohim, is a bad deal. You shouldn't do it, obviously. Some of these are pretty self-explanatory. We don't need the rocket science to figure these out. Some we do. We don't know, and we won't know. 214, to keep your promises and vows to God. Did we just do that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. We did 23:23?
Yes, 214. We're on 215.
Okay, 215. Not to break oaths or vows. Numbers 30:27.
So, it seems there isn't a Numbers 30:27.
Oh.
Is it 31:27?
What do we have?
Let's see.
And you shall hide the plant. No, there is.
So,
it could be 30:26.
What is it? Do you know how
there is no 26 either.
It's out at 16.
Okay. So
maybe 17.
We actually go through these, or we're supposed
there's no
to.
17, there's only
Eli.
16.
But I guess we didn't make it through the list, Eli.
I thought I went through them. I might have actually missed that one, but the next one's there.
Okay.
Numbers 32,
okay,
which actually connects with the previous one.
So maybe it's Numbers 37. Maybe it's just 7. Nope.
No, this guy got an A for this. Go figure.
Oh no, it's 6 and 7, I think.
What is it?
But if she at all belongs to a husband while bound by her vows or by a rash utterance from her lips, by which she bound herself, and her husband hears it, he has kept silent towards her on that day that he hears, then her vow shall stand, and her agreements by which she bound herself do stand. But if her husband forbids her on the day that he hears it, then he has nullified her vow which she vowed, and the rash utterance of her lips by which she bound herself, and Yahuwah pardons her.
Okay, so that was supposed to be what? Okay, so what that was actually saying is if a woman goes out and speaks something and the man does not stop her from saying it, like if she goes out and says, hey, we're going to give the village $1,000 each or something, and the man doesn't go and stop that.
She has to do it.
Yeah, the stands. And so that wasn't it. So I'm not exactly sure where that was on there. We will clean that little thing up and try to figure these ones out.
Numbers 32.
Numbers 30, where?
32.
32. To have vows and oaths annulled according to law. Numbers 32.
If a man vow a vow unto Yahuwah, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth.
Yeah, I wouldn't break your oath to Yah. 217. The Nazarite must let his hair grow.
All the days of the vow of his separation, a razor does not come upon his head until the days are completed for which he separates himself to Yahuwah. He is Kodesh. He shall let the locks of his head grow long.
Okay, and that was number 6.5 for 218 as well. The Nazarite must not cut his hair. So, I guess they take 2 commandments out of this: let it grow and not cut his hair.
I think it should be kind of one. Right? Yeah, that really
Let it grow isn't cutting it, so.
I don't know. I don't know.
It should be like, let it grow and don't cut it. That's literally what we should be putting in one sentence.
All right, but that'd still be 2 commands: let it grow and don't cut it.
But if you're cutting it,
Not
you're
cutting
not letting it grow.
Yeah, if not cutting it, it's still letting it grow.
But if you're letting it grow, you're not cutting it.
Right, so that's all one.
Put ourselves in a paradox.
I don't know what's going on here. Okay, so here we go.
Number 6.3.
Yeah, number 6.3. The Nazarite must not drink wine mixtures, or wine vinegar. Number 6.3. And then the 220, which is the last one to end on, the Nazarite must not eat fresh grapes.
Fresh grapes.
Number 6.3.
He separates from wine and strong drink. He drinks neither vinegar or wine, nor vinegar of strong drink. Neither does he drink any grape juice, nor eat grapes or raisins.
Yeah, so that's the law if you want to be a Nazarite, right? You would not eat things of that nature. You nothing off the vine, and you would not cut your hair.
Yeah, it's a different kind of lifestyle.
Yeah, and you would not start dating Palestinian women, Philistine.
Solomon, we're looking at you.
Well, no, we're looking at
Samson. My
Samson.
bad. Samson, we're looking at you.
Yeah, no.
And Solomon, you went crazy too, but Samson, we're talking about you.
Samson was he was supposed to be a Nazarene because he had his
He ended
hair.
up getting his hair cut. That's where his strength went.
Well, yeah, nobody knew that. Okay, so that is it, folks. Thank you very much for joining in. We truly appreciate it. We hope that you guys got something out of this as we continue on through the law, statutes, and commands of our Creator. And, gentlemen, what do you have?
Read your Bible. If you want to become a Nazarene, this is what you got to do.
If you want to become a Nazarene, if you want to become a holy person, how do you become a holy person, Eli?
You follow the Torah of Yahuwah, and you believe in Yahuwah, and you follow all these commands.
How do you know what righteousness is, Caden?
Well, by this book here, the Bible here, when it says something is good in the Bible, when you're doing the opposite, you're doing the opposite of righteousness.
Right, and how is sin defined, Jaden?
By breaking the Torah.
How do you know what sin is?
Because of the Torah, because the Torah tells us what not to do and what to do. When we break one of those commands, we know that we have sinned.
If the laws of God are on the tree, or if they're on the cross, and we no longer have to follow them, does that make it all laws or only certain laws?
If they say it's all on the cross, I'd say there's no more sin. We are free to do what we want.
Yeah, you could completely go through this, and you could diverse seeds, and you marry your sister and drink blood, and
It just seems like a very chaotic lifestyle, right? You
rip your neighbor off, slander your neighbor.
Steal from him. I mean,
Lie to
nobody
your
wants. Does anybody want stolen from? I mean, raise your hand if you want.
Yeah, let's go
stolen
lie to
from.
our neighbor because it's all in the cross. But there's always excuses of the Christians.
Paul, Peter, every disciple, no one ever said there is no Torah.
Yeah, nobody ever did. And you can take like a couple of verses out of some writings of Brother Shaul, and you can try to clear the Torah. But at the end of the day, when you do that, you make Paul Shaul your God. And unfortunately, he isn't going to save you. He didn't die for you. He would be probably shocked that you guys are like thinking the Torah is gone when he was such an advocate for the Torah and for the Messiah.
He grew up in Torah his whole life. He started persecuting people.
He was a
he didn't
Pharisee.
understand. He didn't understand.
He was a very learned person. That's why his writings are so obscure when you read them. It's because he was so skilled in writing and skilled in
He had
everything.
some of the
His
best.
words were-
He stood under like one of the best rabbis. He was like a qualified guy. But I guess that would lead us to the question: is if he was so qualified, why wasn't he walking with our Messiah when the Messiah was here? Why did this encounter happen later?
I
And
guess
he has a plan for everything, right?
I guess he probably didn't understand Messiah. He probably didn't get it. He probably looking for somebody
He
else.
probably wasn't around at the time. He was probably around in like.
I think he's
Rome.
around.
Was
No,
he?
I think he was persecuting Christians. I think he was persecuting people. He was definitely around, I believe. But I mean, it is strange. Okay, gentlemen, anything else?
Read your Bibles.
Have a good night.
Okay, all right.
Shalom.
Much love, everyone. Goodbye.